All right, Autumn, thank you. We're learning more tonight about the future of the Walden Galleria after news came out yesterday that Wells Fargo filed a complaint in state Supreme Court here in Western New York to start foreclosure proceedings on the mall. This comes after the owner, Pyramid Management Group, defaulted on a $220 million loan that it got back in 2012. A lot of people that were wondering, what does this actually mean for the mall, the businesses inside, and all of you watching, the customers? Attorney Johnny Mueller is a partner at Lippis Mathias, co-lead of the Financial Reconstructing and Insolvency team, and he joins me live here tonight. Johnny, it's been actually a few years since we've talked. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Got a little gray in the beard now.
Just a little bit. So I think the big question everybody has, when you hear something going into foreclosure, some people immediately think like, oh, it's closing. That's not what's happening, right? But what is happening?
Sure. So it's certainly not the intent of the bank or any of the parties involved to see the mall close. The only way that loan gets paid, right, is if the mall's performing. And so this is a scenario where the bank has determined they need to step in. And so as part of the foreclosure, they can exercise certain rights through the loan documents that they had with the borrower here, the mall. And that includes effectively taking over management of the mall that they think in order to protect their collateral, which is the mall, and make sure that it can continue to perform and hopefully perform better, get new tenants, keep existing tenants, all of those things, that this legal action is necessary for the bank to get that control and protect its interests.
Is that something that normally would just kind of play out in the background and we wouldn't notice any change? Or might we, as shoppers, see a change at the Walden Galleria with sort of new management?
I think, the hope, at least of the lender and the parties that it's trying to get involved for management purposes, is that consumers won't see any change, that they will continue to enjoy the mall and use the mall, and that really actually, rather than seeing any negative impact, I think the goal of the lender here would be to try to improve operations, and so you may actually see, depending on the willingness of the lender here, some improvements at the mall, and certainly efforts to perhaps fill empty spaces, new tenants, and efforts like that. So hopefully the general consumer isn't going to see anything negative in terms of their viewpoint, within the mall.
For people who haven't been following the Walden Galleria's financial situation closely, and that's the vast majority of people, I think a lot of folks were really surprised when they saw that if the Walden Galleria can't basically pay its bills, what mall in the world can? That one always seems so busy. Were you surprised when you saw the financial situation it's in?
It is surprising, because when you think of a place like the Galleria certainly when you go there, it certainly seems busy and you're parking far away. But, you got to understand that there's been, a lot of, impact in the retail space, with all the bankruptcies and things that have occurred in the last decade, sort of the COVID interruption that obviously, knocked out a couple years of revenues, or at least, dramatically reduced them. And so I think it's just, Pyramid, the defendant, the owner here, has just kind of been unable to weather the storm. And through some of the filings, it appears that, they even have another property or two that are in similar situations. And so, I think unfortunately, like a lot of malls across the country, it's been difficult, particularly when you lose those large anchor tenants, like we've seen between, Sears or JCPenney or some of the like that, really, sunk some malls.
Johnny Mueller is a partner at Lippis Mathias, attorneys at law here in Buffalo. Johnny, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate your insight on something that's so important to folks.
No, my pleasure. Thanks. Take care, Michael.